So this upgrade, guys, is going to be for any of the Mitsubishi Tritons out there that are the MQ version, which is 2016 onwards. Now, there was two different styles or three different styles of stereo that you're going to have in the dash, but anything with these rounded edges, that's the 200mm wide unit, you're going to be able to replace with this new plug-and-play kit. This has the factory reverse camera, and we're going to show you how to retain that factory reverse camera. Also, you have this factory USB down here. We're also going to retain that, and that's going to be available for use for the Apple CarPlay Android Auto. Now, for you guys out there that don't have these factory screen ones with the factory reverse camera, we can supply you a reverse camera as well. We're going to list that up on our listings, on our website, Carbon Car System. So don't stress. If you didn't have the reverse camera, you will now get one, or you can get one. And this, guys, like I said, you'll be able to retain the factory reverse camera if you have it. So first step, we're going to go through and show you how to install it, how to remove the dash. It's not too hard on these vehicles. It's pretty easy. So let's show you how to do that. One of the first steps you want to be doing, guys, is make sure you remove any CDs that are actually in the unit, if there is any in there, because once you actually remove the stereo, it can be a pain to put it back in to get those out. Next, we're going to remove these side panels or these trim panels, and we're going to pop them off with a non-marring pry bar. Again, we use these in all our film clips. They're a plastic pry bar that doesn't do any scratching to the dash should you slip, but you can use like your bum spatula. It's kind of the same thing, but you can buy these for a couple of bucks. I think they're about $5 to $10 there. We make them available on our website as well. Now, down in the bottom left-hand corner here, we're just going to slide this pry bar underneath, and you'll actually be able to lever it off. Now, when you're levering this off, you don't want to push against the car. You want to be pushing towards yourself so that you can actually pop it forward, and that's not going to do any damage to the vehicle. And as you can see here, this is all going to come off virtually in one piece. So this gentleman's actually got a CB radio in his on the right here, but there we go. Pops off, pops forward. Then on the back here, you're just going to have a couple of plugs. Now, this will vary depending if you have the climate control or the dials, but it's just going to be a couple of plugs where you push the little locking section on the bottom. So this is it here. You're just going to push that down and pull it out, and that will actually unclip it all for you. So pretty easy to remove these, and now all you're going to need is a Phillips head screwdriver. There is actually 4 screws, 2 on either side, and we can actually undo that and pull the whole unit out. So the 4 screws, guys, like I said, Phillips head, very easy to do. We're using a drill here. If you're going to use a drill, you probably need a long bit, but we're actually using a short bit, and it's not too hard to actually pull that out. Then we're going to be able to lift it forward, hold it in your hand, and on the back here, 3 plugs. So again, these have all got little locking tabs on them. Just going to undo them. They're very easy to undo, and that's your antenna as well. And there you have it, guys. Pretty easy to get it out. Okay, so once you've got the head unit out, there's going to be a couple more wiring, little bits of wiring that we're going to have to run, but I'm going to explain what these plugs are just quickly. So this one here, this is an 8-pin plug. This is the factory reverse camera. Now, if you don't have the reverse camera, you won't need to use that. You can just use the aftermarket one. This one here is going to do your powers, your speakers, your steering wheel controls, your antenna. And this one here, if you have a factory AUX port, you will be able to use that using that plug. We're going to give you all these new plugs. So with our kit, we custom make it to be plug and play for you guys, so it's easy to install yourself. Now, if you have this factory USB, so we've actually got a cable plugged into this at the moment, we do have to get that from behind the glove box. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's actually really, really easy to do, but what we're going to do is come over here, and we're going to pop the glove box down. And this one's a little bit full, but it is quite easy to do. Now, on the right-hand side, there is a little plug that we're going to have to undo. It pops off, so if you just slide your hand down on the right here, it's going to be very hard to see because of the light here, but I'll show you when it's off. You're going to push that away from the glove box, and it'll pop off, and then all you got to do is squeeze the sides in, and it should virtually pop off like that. And this is the little thing here that I was explaining that you got to pop off. It's just a little circle. Just pop it away from the glove box, and that will pop off. That's just the release that slows down your glove box when you're pulling it out. Now, what you want to get to is just here behind the glove box, this little grey plug, okay? It's got a release on the right-hand side here. Excuse my hands, I'll show you. Just push that and pull it out. And that is the factory USB. And we're going to put that up behind the stereo now. So you're just going to reach in behind the stereo, grab that, and pull it up to the top here. And we're going to have that so we can retain the factory USB. All right, so the only other thing we have to do is we have to run a new external microphone for this kit because it is slightly better with the Kenwood units. So we're gonna run that while we've got the glove box out because it makes it a little bit easier. Then we're gonna show you how to put the glove box back in as well. So in our kits, guys, you're gonna get this. This is an external microphone. It comes with all the Kenwood units that we actually sell. And even if you're doing another aftermarket stereo like a Pioneer, etc., they'll come with an external microphone. You won't be able to retain the factory one. Reason being is this is designed to go with the new stereos. It's got a different sort of jack or a plug on it, and it's also going to be slightly different in terms of the way it picks up the voice when you talk. So use the aftermarket one. We're going to mount it up here behind the factory rear vision mirror so that if you and your passenger are talking, it's nice and clear and it's out of the way and it's very discreet then as well. So it's not too hard to do. All you got to do is pop these little covers off on your hand rest here. So you're just going to pop them off using your pry bar. Very easy to do. And they're just 2 Phillips head screws. They're going to undo. And that is off as well. So from there, you're going to put your hand behind this little rubber, this black rubber here. This is called pinch weld. It will actually pull down, and that's going to allow us to run our microphone. And as you can see here, the A-pillar will actually come right off, and it makes it very easy to be able to run your cabling. So on your external microphone, it does have a little bit of double-sided tape. You're just going to pull that off. You're going to stick it up where you want it. So we're going to put it just in the center here, nice and straight, and that's going to pick up your calls nicely or your voice. And the easiest way to run this is actually just put it across the hood lining and tuck it up and away. So you don't want to pull on it too tight because then it won't sit up there nicely, but you can get it to sit up there very nicely. Just put your finger here and pull it. And what we'll do is we'll put a bit of double-sided tape to hold that up there a little bit better. So, because it is a bit of a thin cable, but you can get it to sit up there nice and neat. There we go. So that's pretty neat. All right, as we're going to run down the A-pillar here, you can do this a couple of ways. You're just going to tie the cables out of the way here with the other cables or your factory cables. You can do it 2 ways. You can use a bit of tape, or you can actually twist it around the cable wing like this, and that will actually hold it in place as well. So if you don't have any tape, but I was just getting some tape, it's a little bit easier. You can actually do that as well. And that keeps your cord out of the way for when you actually screw your hand holder or your handle here back on. So you're actually not going to pinch the cabling. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to run it behind the glove box. There's a little bit of gap on the side of it. It's very easy to see when you're on the left hand side. I won't show it to you. Just pull it through. Nice and neat. And that's the reason we keep the glove box off, because it makes it a lot easier to run the cables up to the center. I'm going to run that through behind the cables here, tie them up nice and neat, and we're going to put all this back on. So when you're putting this back on, all you got to do is make sure you locate these 2 tabs into the holes that are in the dash. They'll only line up one way. Very easy to put back in, and then just push your rubber back on and that will hold it in place, and you can put your screws back in. And that is it, guys. So I'm going to quickly do that. We're going to run the cable up into the center. I'm going to show you how to put the glove box back in for those of you out there that would find that a little bit unsure about that. And I'm going to screw this up as well. All right, so there's a little optional step here. This will depend on which stereo you get out there, but we have 2 different packages with Kenwood on our website. One is a mechless or no CD unit with Apple CarPlay Android Auto, and one has DAB Plus as well as Apple CarPlay Android Auto, which is, for all you guys out there that don't know what DAB Plus is, it's those extra digital radio stations. If you have that sort of unit, so we're using the Kenwood DDX9018DABS today, you will get this. This is an on-glass antenna, and that's for picking up the new radio stations. So you'll have your standard digital AM FM, and this will be your DAB Plus. And what you're going to do while you're running the mic, you're going to have to mount this on the window as well. So you're quickly going to pull this apart. This is not too hard to do. You can clean the inside of the windscreen. It gives you little alcohol wipes if you need it. This one's okay. And what we're going to do is do this while we're doing the microphone. You've got this. This is the little antenna. It's a very clear little section here. It's a little bit hard to see, and it's got 1 and 2 labeled on it. You're just going to peel off number 1 first, and you're going to stick it on the windscreen. And you're going to be careful not to touch it because you can put finger marks on it. You're going to put it up in the top right here, just nice and close to the left-hand side. You don't want it too far out. And there you have it. Nice and neat. Very easy to do. And you pull the number 2 off, okay? And then make sure it sticks. So, very easy to stick that part on. And then what you're gonna do from there is you're gonna grab this cable that's in the packaging here, and you're gonna pull the double-sided tape off this as well. And you're gonna find there's this little metal tab here, and that little metal tab has to line up with this little metal tab that's on the windscreen. So I'll show you that as I'm doing it. Let me just quickly peel this tape off. It can be a little bit sticky. There we go. All right. And that little metal tab, you just got to line up with the one on the window so that it can conduct properly. And then you're going to stick this little black section on to the car, and that's going to stick around the metal like that. All right, so that's very easy to do as well. It just virtually sticks on, but we thought we'd show you that at the same time, because if you do have a DAB unit, you're going to have to run this cable in as well for that reception. We're going to run that with the mic, very easy. Okay, so once you put all that up, guys, that's what the antenna is going to look with the A-pillar on. So it's very discreet, very neat on your front windscreen. Okay, so I've run those cables behind there. I've tied them up nice and neat out of the way of the glove box, because you want them not loose, because when you put the glove box in and out, it can hit it, and it's up in the center there, so you can see our external mic has been done. So quickly with the glove box, it's very easy to put back in. You've just got these bottom little holes here that line up on the car in 2 locations, and it virtually just snaps together. So you just line them up and push it up. Now, when you do this, just don't forget to put that little release on the right-hand side back up. So just push it up and you clip that on, and she is in. So you should hear it click and pop, and just double check it, make sure it all works properly. So that's nice and neat, very easy to do. Okay, so now we have all our cables up in the center here. We're just gonna neaten them up a little bit. We're gonna use our tape, we're gonna wrap it around just so it's nice and neat when we do our installation, because they are very long. They give you quite a lot of cable in the kit. So we actually use Tessa tape. So this is a factory cloth tape. We have this available now on our website. You can buy it. It just keeps it nice and neat, looks genuine. Better than having a plastic or an ABS tape. All right, this is the microphone here. So, and now we're gonna show you how to do the wiring. So we actually make this plug for you. Oh, actually, sorry, there's one more cable we do have to run. We're gonna run this. Depending on the unit that you have, it will come with an external GPS receiver, because this actually improves the Apple CarPlay Android Auto. So this is what it is here, little GPS receiver that will plug into the unit. So these units that we sell on our website, they don't have built-in GPS because they don't need it. They actually have Apple CarPlay Android Auto, which means you can use Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze navigation, which will give you all your traffic and live updates for police cameras and all those sorts of things. And that's all free and it's always updated. So all you gotta do is plug your phone in, you can use all those apps on the screen. So this here just improves the GPS location and reporting for those features, all right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna stick this up underneath the top here. It can go under the dash. You just gotta make sure it's clear line of sight to the sky without any metal above it. So it's just got some double-sided tape on this one. Just gonna peel that off, put it up here, and then it's gonna stick up there nice and neat. There we go. And that's gonna sit in there nice and neat. So there we go. That is all our peripherals, or all our cabling, nice and neat and ready to wire it up. Now I'm gonna quickly run you through our plug here. We showed you the plugs a little bit earlier, but this is the kit we're actually gonna give you. Now, this is custom made by us, and we do this because it is much cheaper for you to be able to do it this way. Makes it plug and play. You don't have to pay someone to install it. You can do it yourself or with your mates. But also, because the Kenwood units come with steering controls built in, we wire this for you so that you can actually pre-program the steering wheel how you like. And it's actually gonna save you money where you don't have to buy an extra module. A lot of the stores will try and sell you a steering wheel control module, which will cost up to about an extra $100 roughly. And you really don't need it. So I had a store ringing me yesterday, or a customer ring me and said a store's trying to sell him this extra harness when you actually don't even need it. It's built into the Kenwood units. So save yourself some money, buy these kits with the harness. We'll make them available on our website, and we're gonna go through them now. So quickly, this is just the USB adapter. So that USB we ran from behind the glove box will now plug into this new cable that we give you. It'll click in nice and easy. That will then plug into the Kenwood unit and retain that factory USB for you. Then you have your antenna here, which will just plug straight into the back of the Kenwood. And then we have a couple of different plugs here as well. So you've got your main power plug. Now, don't stress about this. These will only go in one way. You have the extra adapter here for if you do run an AUX cable, you can run these. These are auxiliary inputs. Now, we're not going to use this on this car today because this doesn't have the AUX input. And honestly, we're not going to use it on a lot anyway because you've got Bluetooth and dual USB, Apple CarPlay, DAB. So I don't know why you'd use AUX these days. But you also have this little grey plug here, and this is going to be your reverse camera. So it's going to come like that, and that will give you your factory reverse camera into the stereo. If you have an aftermarket reverse camera, you can pick up reverse in this plug. You'll just have to test for it. If you look on the front here, I'll tell you what it is. It'll be the purple white wire on the plug, on the back of the plug there. That purple white will be a reverse trigger. If you're running an aftermarket camera, you can actually pick up the reverse light there. So that will actually tell the unit to switch over when you put it in reverse and show the reverse camera. So we're using the factory one here, but if you don't have it, that's where you would pick it up. And that is all your plugs, guys. So very, very easy to do. And now that's just going to plug into the back of the Kenwood system. I'm going to show you that quickly as well. So now we're going to show you how to do the brackets on the stereo. We're outside in our car park today because it's a little bit easier. That's where the actual car is. Now these are the original brackets on the original stereo. Now you're not going to use them because the new one's going to come with this little gloss fascia, and this is actually going to sit around the new stereo like this, okay? So it's actually going to sit in there nice and neat. Now the reason being, this is actually going to come in our kit, okay? It's a little gloss fascia. It's going to come with 4 screws and some new brackets. So these are the new brackets that actually come in the kit as well. Now you'll be able to know, or you will know, which one is left and right based on the factory stereo. So you can see here, lines up with the factory bracketing, but it just puts this little section on the front. Now, the easiest way to do this is have your factory one there, put this fascia around the new stereo, turn it up this way, and then you can screw the brackets on to the side, like you can line them up, okay? So you can see that's the left-hand side. We're gonna put this on the left-hand side of the stereo. We're gonna put those screws in the back there. So just gonna screw them in nice and neat. Once you can line them up, there you go, and then you can put the side screws in. So the side screws will actually come in the kit from Kenwood or any aftermarket stereo that you are using, and you'll be able to line all that up. So what we're gonna do is screw them on there now quickly, and then we're gonna slide it on and we'll do the side screws after the fact. That's going on. What we're going to do, you're going to end up with something like that, and that's actually going to be the fascia sitting on there. You can slide your stereo in, and then you'll be able to line it all up nice and neat. So it'll actually end up looking like that. Put the screws in on the side, and very simple to do. You feeling this part?
Yeah, it's already recording.
Oh. So here we're just putting in the screws on the side, guys. These actually come in the kit. And we're done. So when you're actually doing these fascias, guys, once you actually got on the side of the stereo, there is a little bit of play in them up or down, so you'll need to adjust them. So you just loosen off the little black screws on the back and you'll be able to adjust it up or down just to ensure it's straight across the top here, straight across the bottom. There is a bit of play in them. But that's pretty easy to do as well. So you just do that once it's actually on the stereo. Just move it here, tighten it up with your screwdriver, just a Phillips head again. And she will sit very neat, so you can actually see that across the top there and across the bottom. Done. So on these Kenwood units, there is actually dual USB, so we're going to run an extra USB into the glove box as well. We're just going to quickly do that. That will depend on the unit that you get, but if you get it from us, they all come with dual USBs. So one for the factory one and a secondary one in your glove box if you want to run any other USB sticks or musics or charge a different phone at the same time as the one that is actually running the Apple CarPlay Android Auto. All right, so here we go, guys. Now all we've got to do now is plug everything in, tape it up, and mount it up, and away she goes. So there is 3 yellow RCAs on these Kenwood DDX9018s. If you get the lower model, the DMX8018, which is in one of our packages, you'll probably only have 2 of these. But you just want to get the one that says rear view camera, and you're going to pull this little black cover off, and that is going to be your camera. I'm going to do that first, and as always, we put a little bit of tape around that so it doesn't come loose. There we go, nice and neat. We are going to do our AM FM antenna, plug that in. We have our USBs, so we have 2 USBs now. So the factory one is black and I'm using the gray one for the other port. Now just remember, the Kenwood units, the black one will do Apple CarPlay Android Auto, so you want to make that one your factory located one down the bottom here, and the gray one will only actually do Android Auto, not Apple. So just make that factory location one Apple CarPlay. Put a bit of tape around those just so they don't come loose as well, because if anyone else ever works on this vehicle, people do pull around on cables and it does come loose, so the tape just helps prevent that. GPS receiver, so plug into the back of the unit. We do have our microphone, so we've got a little bit of leeway there. That goes into the section that says mic. You got your main power plug here. Now don't fret on these, guys, this is only going to go in one spot on all these plugs. The only one that you really need to think about is the microphone and the remote in, because they are these 2 little holes here next to each other. One says remote in, that's for steering wheel controls. One says microphone. All right, now you also have this is your DAB antenna. This is not going to be on all units, but it goes down the bottom here on this little section. So just going to make sure you clip that in as well. And these units are great. They've got 3 RCA outs if you do want to run an expanded stereo system. If you want to run any subwoofers, amplifiers, anything like that, you can do that as well. There's the steering wheel remote in as well. So that's it, guys. Then you're going to put it all back in the dash and test it out, and make sure before you put your dash back on, everything is working. And we're going to show you how to program steering wheel controls really quickly, because you can custom program them with the Kenwood units, which is one of the main reasons we sell them. And that is it. All right, we're quickly just putting it in the dash, doing the screws up so it's actually mounted in the factory location, ready to go. We're gonna boot it up now and test everything before we put the fascia back on. So Beth, can you turn that on, please? All right, here we go. We're gonna show you a couple of settings you're gonna have to do and a couple of things you wanna be testing out. Once it's booted, you'll get this initial setup screen. So you want to be turning demo off. You're just going to touch that. You want to go into reverse camera, turn rear camera interruption on. You can turn the parking guidelines off in this setting as well. And there's a couple other settings in there like language, and you're just going to click finish. This is an automatic warning. You can actually tick this button here so it goes off after 10 seconds. It's just saying drive safely. We do set these up so you can use CD, DVD while you're driving, so your passengers can actually use it. It's not for you, but your passengers can actually use that. And one of the last things you want to do is actually check the reverse camera is going to be working. So you can put your ignition on, and if you put your foot on the brake there, you can test the reverse camera works. So there you go, that's the reverse camera there with the guidelines. Those guidelines are actually adjustable. They can be turned on or off in the stereo. The next thing we're going to do is check the AM FM radio. So that's actually working, and we don't have steering wheel controls yet, but we're going to check that in a sec. So just tune into a station, make sure you got radio. So that's very, very good as well. Now the last thing we're going to do is set up the steering wheel controls. Now you're going to go push the menu button, go into setup, user interface, steering wheel remote controls. Now this is through our harness. Because we make this custom plug and play for you guys, you can actually program the steering wheel controls here for anything that you want. And all you got to do is go into this settings, push the up button, for example, for 2 seconds. The screen will change here, and you can actually map it to whatever you'd like. So we're going to do that volume up. volume down. The middle button is mode. We're going to map that to source. So we're going to scroll down here, source, track left, track right. So you're going to scroll down, track left, track right. Now these are cool on the Kenwoods. They actually do have the voice button. So you go all the way to the bottom here. There is the actual voice button, because the new Apple CarPlay Android Auto, you can press that and ask it to do things. You also have the hang up and answer button, so we can use those as well. So we're going to retain all these factory features, which is really cool, and that's part of the reason we do use the Kenwoods, because they actually do have the voice control. Not all stereos have that. Now, test that out. So we're going to go back to our radio quickly. We're going to test it, and you can actually see here, steering wheel remote controls are actually working as well, so you can actually use anything on there. Now, the last thing you're going to test is the factory USB, and you could actually make a phone call and check your Bluetooth mic's going to work. We're going to test that off camera, but just pair your phone up, check the Bluetooth works, plug in the USB to another phone, and make sure that your Apple CarPlay Android Auto works. So we're going to test this quickly. You got to phone me? Is that Apple? Is that unlocked? Cool. We're going to test it here on Mick's phone. So this is Mick's car. Plug it in. It's going to ask you to allow Apple CarPlay. If you're an Android user, you will have to download Android Auto onto your phone from the App Store. But there you go. You can actually see the Apple CarPlay working straight away. Very easy to do. You can see now it's got Google Maps, and this is the Waze navigation. So Waze is a really cool nav. If you've never used it, it actually does all the cameras in Australia and does live updates. It's actually community reporting on the unit, so you can actually report traffic and police and all sorts of things as you're driving along. But this is very, very responsive on these units because they are capacitive touch, very easy to use. They have adjustable screens here as well, so you can actually adjust the angle if you get any glare, CD, DVD behind, and very simple and easy to install for you guys out there. Look, that's a complete DIY video. We're going to put the covers back on here, or the fascia back on, and we're finished.